The Galactic Council's chamber fell silent as Admiral Vrax of the Talarian Empire finished his report. His 4 eyes blinked nervously as he stood before the assembled representatives of the 17 spacefaring civilizations. "So you're telling us," began High Counselor Drem, her luminescent tendrils pulsing with agitation, "that this newly discovered species, these humans, not only refused to surrender when confronted by your battle cruiser, but actually forced *U* to retreat." Admiral Vrax's scales darkened with embarrassment. "They did not possess superior firepower, High Counselor. That is what makes this encounter so unusual." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The humans were barely a century into their interstellar phase, having only established colonies on a handful of worlds in their immediate stellar neighborhood. Their discovery had been considered a routine matter, another primitive species to whether incorporate into the Galactic Council or subjugate, depending on their usefulness. "Show us the encounter recording," commanded Counselor Trell of the Mechanoid Collective, his metallic voice echoing through the chamber. The holographic display flickered to life in the center of the room. It showed the sleek, predatory form of the Talarian battlecruiser *, Inevitable Conquest *, approaching a much smaller, bulkier human vessel. The human ship was designated as *Defiance *, a fitting name as events would soon prove. "This is their first true warship," Admiral Vrax explained. "Previous human vessels we've observed were either civilian or lightly armed patrol craft." The recording continued. The Talarian ship fired a warning shot across the human vessel's bow, standard procedure when asserting dominance over a lesser species. "We issued standard surrender demands," the Admiral continued. "We informed them of their incorporation into the Empire as a protectorate species with the standard taxation and resource contribution requirements." On the display, the human ship remained motionless for several moments. Then, instead of powering down as expected, it began maneuvering. "They're turning to expose minimum cross-section," observed a military analyst from the Hive Imperium. "Basic combat positioning. Nothing surprising." But what happened next caused several counselors to rise from their seats in astonishment. The human vessel accelerated directly toward the Talarian cruiser, a ship 5 times its size with 10 times its firepower. The Talarian commander could be heard ordering evasive action, clearly bewildered by this suicidal approach. "They targeted our primary weapon emplacements," Admiral Vrax said, his voice tinged with reluctant admiration. "Not with their main cannons, but with precisely calculated micrometeorite bursts. Primitive, but effective." The recording showed small explosions across the Talarian cruiser's hull, not enough to breach it, but perfectly positioned to disable external sensors and targeting systems. Their captain, a human named Jones, opened communication channels after this initial exchange. Vrax continued. The display showed a human, pink-skinned, 2-eyed, with short brown fur atop its head, sitting calmly in a command chair. "This is Captain Thomas Jones of the Earth Alliance ship Defiance *, the human said. "We have disabled your primary targeting systems but left your engines and life support untouched. We have no desire for conflict, but we will not be subjugated. We propose an alternative: diplomatic relations between equals." The council chamber erupted in astonished exclamations. "Equals," sputtered Counselor Galax of the Ancient Worlds Coalition. "A species that hasn't even mastered quantum folding thinks there are equals." Admiral Vrax raised a clawed hand. "There's more." The recording continued. The human captain's voice remained steady. "We've analyzed your ship's construction. There are 14 vulnerable points in your design where targeted strikes would cause cascading system failures. We are transmitting these weaknesses now as a show of good faith." Data streamed between the ships, and the Talarian commander's stunned reaction was evident as the information appeared on his screens. A perfect analysis of critical vulnerabilities that the Talarians themselves had documented but considered classified. "How did they obtain this information?" demanded Counselor Trell. "They didn't," replied Vrax. "They deduced it through observation and analysis during our brief encounter. Their tactical officer apparently has what they call an engineer's eye." The final moments of the recording showed the Talarian commander wisely choosing discretion over valor, agreeing to withdraw and report to the Council before any further action. "They let you leave," observed High Counselor Drem, "when they could have attempted to destroy your vessel." "Yes," admitted Vrax. "And as we departed, they transmitted a complete technical package, specifications for communication protocols compatible with our systems, proposed diplomatic frameworks, and trade proposals." The council chamber fell silent again as the implications set in. "So this species, barely out of their planetary cradle," summarized Counselor Trell, "not only refused subjugation but forced a tactical withdrawal from one of our most advanced warships, identified critical weaknesses in our designs that took our engineers decades to discover, and then immediately pivoted to diplomacy." "Correct," said Admiral Vrax, "and intelligence reports suggest the Defiance is merely a prototype. They have 12 more under construction, each incorporating improvements based on their first deployment." High Counselor Drem's tendrils had stopped their agitated pulsing. Now they were perfectly still, a sign of deep thought among her species. "It seems," she said finally, "that we have two options. We can commit significant military resources to subjugate this species quickly, before they build more vessels and spread further. Or we can accept their proposal for diplomatic relations," finished Counselor Trell, "as equals." The vote, when it came, was not unanimous, but it was decisive. The Galactic Council would welcome humanity to the interstellar community, not as subjects, but as partners. As Admiral Vrax left the chamber, he couldn't help but wonder what these humans would achieve in a century's time. The thought was both thrilling and terrifying.